Echoes of silence. HYBE linked to Jimin and Jungkook's growing divide in recent weeks. A wave of speculation has flooded various social media platforms, igniting discussions about a potential divide between BTS members Jimin and Jungkook. Allegations fueled by whispers across TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and other online media spaces have repeatedly suggested that HYBE, the management company overseeing BTS, may bear some responsibility for this perceived rift. Yet, as we immerse ourselves in these narratives, one cannot help but ask, do these claims stand upon verifiable facts, or are they merely echoes amplified by the hunger for sensationalism? The prevailing narrative presents Jimin and Jungkook as figures caught in a silent estrangement. Videos dissecting their lack of recent interactions are shared, slowed down, and replayed endlessly, while threads on forums and comments on social platforms fuel assumptions with every frame analyzed. But what is the true foundation of these claims? Can a handful of selective video clips, taken out of broader context, truly serve as irrefutable evidence of emotional distance? Or is this entire discussion a carefully constructed illusion, designed to capture attention, generate views, and provoke emotional responses among devoted fans? HYBE's role in this discussion is equally complex. Critics argue that the company may intentionally control narratives, either by emphasizing certain appearances or by strategically separating members for marketing purposes. But here arises a critical question. Is it reasonable to assume that such a powerful corporation would risk dismantling the brotherly image of two beloved idols for short-term gain? Or does the speculation merely expose the tendency of audiences to project their frustrations onto entities that remain unseen and unaccountable? At the center of this debate lies a deeper reflection. How do we, as consumers of media, differentiate between truth and fabrication? The human mind, especially when emotionally invested, is vulnerable to narratives that confirm its biases. Fans who long for constant displays of unity may interpret even the smallest absence as evidence of conflict. Yet is it fair to equate absence with animosity? Is it possible that Jimin and Jungkook, like all individuals, experience natural phases of distance without it signifying permanent estrangement? Or have we become too accustomed to demanding an uninterrupted image of perfection, forgetting that real human relationships are inherently fluid and complex? This uncertainty highlights the urgency of skepticism. When content creators on TikTok or YouTube present claims of division, should their words be accepted as truth simply because they resonate emotionally? Or should audiences exercise caution, questioning the motives behind the narratives? After all, virality thrives not on accuracy but on drama. Sensational headlines are rewarded, while nuanced explanations are often overlooked. Thus, another question emerges. Is the story of Jimin and Jungkook's so-called distance a genuine revelation, or merely the product of an ecosystem that thrives on exploiting fandom emotions? Consider further the implications of this discourse. If fans continue to perpetuate unverified claims, what long-term effects might it have on the reputations of the individuals involved? Could such rumors strain the very bond that fans claim to cherish? Or does the act of relentless speculation, ironically intended to defend and protect the idols, become the very mechanism that undermines their well-being? Here lies a paradox. In the pursuit of truth, we may inadvertently contribute to the erosion of trust between artists and their supporters. Moreover, the focus on alleged divisions risks overshadowing the broader achievements and struggles of the members themselves. BTS, as individuals and as a collective, have endured immense pressure under public scrutiny. Should we not ask whether the obsessive dissection of their personal dynamics further burdens them, rather than honoring their contributions to music and culture? Is it not possible that HYBE, rather than orchestrating division, is attempting to protect its artists from excessive exposure? Or does the absence of transparency leave too much room for speculation, feeding the very cycle of doubt it seeks to avoid? The issue also raises broader philosophical concerns about media literacy. Why are audiences so quick to internalize narratives that may lack substantiation? Is it a reflection of the human desire for dramatic storytelling, where silence becomes evidence and coincidence transforms into conspiracy? Or does it reveal a deeper flaw in our collective consumption of digital media, an inability to distinguish between verifiable fact and manipulative fabrication? Each new rumor, each unverified post, pushes us toward a critical juncture. Will we continue to allow our perceptions to be shaped by algorithms that prioritize engagement over truth? Or will we demand greater accountability from those who disseminate such narratives? This is not simply a matter of celebrity culture, but a microcosm of a larger societal issue. In an age where misinformation spreads with unprecedented speed, every consumer of media holds responsibility. Will fans of Jimin and Jungkook rise to that challenge, or will they remain participants in a cycle that prioritizes emotional reaction over rational inquiry? The ambiguity of the situation places the burden on the audience. The fragments of information circulating on platforms may originate from real observations, but without context, they remain incomplete. Can we truly claim to know the private dynamics between Jimin and Jungkook? Or are we merely spectators interpreting shadows on the wall? Is silence an undeniable confirmation of conflict, or could it just as easily signify privacy, maturity, or the natural ebb and flow of companionship? At this stage, one must pause and reflect. What if all of this is nothing more than a hoax, cleverly constructed to sustain engagement and drive speculation? What if the very narrative of division is a tool, wielded not by the idols or their management, but by an ecosystem of content creators who understand the commercial value of fan emotion? Should we not consider the possibility that our desire for answers may be exploited by those who thrive on keeping the mystery alive? Ultimately, the truth may remain inaccessible to the public. What is accessible, however, is the choice each individual makes in interpreting and responding to the narratives presented. Will you, the reader, allow yourself to be swept away by unverified claims? Or will you question, reflect, and demand evidence? Will you choose to perpetuate sensationalism? Or will you engage in responsible skepticism that respects both the idols and the integrity of information? In conclusion, the whispers of Jimin and Jungkook's supposed divide, and the alleged involvement of HYBE, must be approached with careful scrutiny. The information circulating originates from multiple sources: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and other platforms, but its veracity remains unconfirmed. As such, the responsibility rests upon the audience to resist the allure of definitive conclusions in the absence of definitive proof. The central question remains: do you truly believe this is reality, or is it a fabrication designed to captivate your attention? Perhaps the more urgent question is this: what does your answer reveal, not about Jimin and Jungkook, but about the way you, as a consumer of media, navigate the tension between truth and illusion? The previous discussion examined the layers of speculation, emotional investment, and media manipulation surrounding the alleged distance between Jimin and Jungkook. Yet, the subject demands further elaboration, for the discourse has not merely been confined to the idols themselves. It has extended into broader debates about corporate control, fan psychology, and the fragile boundary between truth and illusion in the digital age. At this juncture, one must ask: are we truly analyzing the relationship between two individuals, or are we dissecting a mirror that reflects our own susceptibility to manipulation? One of the most pressing concerns is the role of corporate narratives. HYBE, as the central management entity, becomes an easy target for blame. Fans often argue that corporations exploit silence, separation, and selective appearances to maintain mystery or manipulate public perception. But is this accusation substantiated by clear evidence, or is it simply the product of suspicion amplified by emotional investment? When silence itself becomes interpreted as a strategy, is there any limit to what can be inferred? And if every absence is branded as intentional, do we not risk constructing a narrative entirely detached from reality? Another dimension worth considering is the psychology of fandom. The deep emotional bond fans cultivate with idols often transcends traditional admiration. It evolves into a sense of personal responsibility and ownership. But herein lies the paradox. Does this closeness empower fans to protect their idols, or does it blind them to the dangers of projecting narratives that may not align with the truth? When Jimin and Jungkook appear less frequently together, fans instinctively fill the void with explanations: conflict, betrayal, or corporate interference. Yet why is it so difficult to accept the simplest explanation, that individuals grow, change, and sometimes distance naturally? Could it be that acknowledging such natural dynamics threatens the illusion of eternal harmony that fans have long clung to? It is also necessary to interrogate the role of digital media in magnifying this supposed divide. Social media platforms, by their very design, reward controversy, emotional triggers, and speculative content. Algorithms do not thrive on accuracy. They thrive on engagement. Thus, every video clip dissected, every speculative caption posted, is not merely an innocent observation. It becomes a commodity. The silence between Jimin and Jungkook, real or imagined, is transformed into digital currency. Are we, then, not complicit in this economy of exploitation when we consume, share, and perpetuate these narratives without scrutiny? The ethical implications cannot be ignored. If the rumor of estrangement is false, what are the consequences for Jimin and Jungkook themselves? Will the endless repetition of division begin to create tension where none previously existed? Or will the idols, already burdened by public expectation, retreat further into silence, knowing that any gesture or lack thereof will be weaponized against them? Is it not possible that, in attempting to protect them by searching for truth, fans may ironically become the very architects of their suffering? Moreover, we must examine the concept of authenticity in the age of mass media. Audiences often demand transparency from idols, insisting on knowing whether bonds remain intact. But is such transparency truly owed? Do Jimin and Jungkook exist primarily as entertainers, or as human beings entitled to privacy? If their silence is a conscious choice, do we have the moral authority to demand answers? Or is the demand itself a manifestation of entitlement, where fandom blurs the line between support and control? This leads to a larger societal question. Why do we, as global consumers of information, repeatedly fall victim to unverified claims? The answer may lie in the nature of digital sensationalism. Human attention gravitates toward conflict, uncertainty, and secrecy. Thus, the story of Jimin and Jungkook's alleged divide is not an isolated phenomenon, but part of a broader cultural pattern. Is it not telling that silence is interpreted as evidence, while normalcy is ignored? Why do we prefer a narrative of hidden conflict over one of mundane coexistence? Does this not reveal more about our appetite for drama than about the idols themselves? In this light, we must confront an uncomfortable reality. The narrative of division may persist regardless of its veracity. Even if Jimin and Jungkook were to publicly refute the claims, would skepticism not linger? Would fans interpret their denial as genuine, or as a corporate script dictated by HYBE? In an era where truth itself is questioned, how can certainty ever be achieved? This cyclical doubt raises an even more pressing question. Do we, as a society, still value truth, or have we surrendered to the comfort of perpetual ambiguity? The demand for answers also raises concerns about power dynamics.